93% of agents fail out of this business. Agents don't fail. You don't fail out of this business. Nobody fires you in this business. I think it's not fair to say that 93% of agents fail. What I will say is 93% of agents within 3 years quit. Hey, what's going on, Cashflow hackers? It's Chris with Life 180, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the number one reason that I think agents are failing out of this business. And before I do, I want to say this. I was just inspired to do this video. I just got done doing a live video training with some of the agents on a panel that I do live every Wednesday. And after the discussion and towards the end of the discussion, started getting fired up about some stuff. And I started really realizing some elements about this business and some new agents and like the way people manage their business and manage their practice and all these things that I guess I really hadn't even thought about before. And it's one of the reasons I love creating this content and being in these environments and having these conversations with people like the amazing agents on my team that are going live and creating their own YouTube channels and doing these kinds of things and creating the content like that. But kind of getting right into it, like what I want to talk about is the reason that something, I'll say it this way, something hit my mind while I was in the middle of that, and I never thought about it before. Because we always talk about how 93% of agents fail out of this business within the first 3 years of the business. So if you think about it, only 7% of agents succeed. 93% fail. One of the things that hit me while I was on this live was agents don't fail. Like, you don't fail out of this business. Like, nobody, you join Life 180, you join these agencies, whatever, you don't get fired. You went out, I got news for you. You go out, you get your license, you get whatever certifications you want to get, you get a job with a company, you get contracted with different carriers, maybe you have a career contract, but I got news for you, even if you join like a Mass Mutual on a career contract and you don't hit your quotas, they don't fire you. You just lose some of the benefits. You can still keep selling life insurance. You don't get fired. They're not, the thing about this business is nobody's ever gonna fire you unless you do something illegal or immoral and maybe get a DUI or do something like that. You don't lose your license. Like, so nobody fires you in this business. So I think it's not fair to say that 93% of agents fail. What I will say is 93% of agents within 3 years quit. They quit on themselves. They give up on their dreams. They give up on their goals. They don't have enough clarity and emotional connection to what they're actually trying to accomplish. And as I was going through this, I started thinking about it, and I want to go through this. I want to run some numbers here. And I want to really talk about this, and is thinking about what track are you on? So if you think about the fact that you have the opportunity to go and get on a track and think about, like, all right, what's my ladder, if you will? So my track, I could go on a track and I could earn, let's call most people earning 50 to 100,000 per year, right? So track one is I can go and earn $50 to $100,000 a year. And at the end of the day, if you're in this realm of income, chances are you're doing okay. I mean, this is $50,000 is above average income, and $100,000 is in, I think, the top 10% of incomes, right? And so when we look at this, actually, I want to do a Google search real quick on this. So what does it take to be in the top 10% of income in the USA? So average incomes found that the top 10% of earners nationally average $167,000. So, like, how about the top 15%? Do they have that number? I wonder if they have the top 15%. Top 15% of earners, let's see, USA Today is in 2022 at least was 95,000. So let's just say this, just for the sake of it, is top 15% of income earners. So I would have to classify that as successful, right? I mean, I think that's fair. That 15% of income earners, top 15%, that means you're better than 85% of the people out there as far as the income. If you're making $100,000 a year, you're in the top 15%. So I think that's fair to say that you're successful. Now, when you get into this business, the challenge is it's tricky, it's challenging. Like, you have to learn a lot of new skills. The one thing I will say about this business is that it's going to force you to become who you need to be to live the life that you want to live. There is no just going to get a job and getting paid a salary and just thinking that things are going to work out for you. It's going to force you to stretch and become who you need to be to create that life, and it's not going to just happen by default. So when we look at this, what's happening here is we say, all right, this is track one, which is like, it's called a JOB, a job, and you're a W-2 employee, and you are beholden to, you know, your career here, and you have to go out, you got a W-2 job, maybe you have a salary, and they have, maybe you have certain vacation times allotted, maybe 2 to 3 weeks of vacation. I remember my wife and I were talking the other day, and she was saying, we're running this retreat and we're inviting people down here to celebrate her 15-year sobriety birthday. So anybody that's interested in coming down to the Dominican Republic and celebrating with us, go ahead and reach out. It's going to be this amazing health and wellness week-long yoga, breath work, all these kinds of cool things happening. We're going to be doing it down here in the Dominican Republic. But a lot of people she reached out to were like, no, I can't because I've already used up all my vacation and I've already had all of my my vacation used, or like I went through my travel budget already. And we just looked at each other like, oh my gosh, like it's sad that people have to live like that and they can't just like have control of where they want to go in life. And so when we look at this track, I mean, we have to think about, what are we doing here? This $100,000 maybe has stability, right? And there's no doubt about it, it has stability. But what you do is you give up freedom. It's at the cost of freedom, right? Because it gets taken away from you. And so the question is like, if you go through this, what are you actually doing? Because if you're relying on this income and you're going through this life, and let's say 10 years later, based on inflation, you know, maybe you're making $145,000, okay? Well, let's go down another track, and let's talk about track number 2. And this is why agents fail. They go through and they focus on, well, this isn't why, but I want to talk about this track, and then I'll talk about why they fail. So maybe they start off and you're struggling and you're thinking, maybe you're making $30,000 per year because you're just not who you need to be yet. It's going to take some time, and we'll look at year one, you make $30,000 a year. It's going to take some time. But I got news for you. If you just do to get a little better and a little better and a little better, and you get better at your sales skills, you get better at communication skills, you get better at understanding the product knowledge so you can communicate to people more effectively about how you do, and you just stay consistent hitting this $30,000, and then maybe you go up by 10% per year and you hit 33, and then like 37, and then 40, 44, right? And you go up and up and up, and then you finally have a breakthrough year. This is what happens. You finally have a breakthrough year and you hit 75. And then you hit 100 because something clicks. Or maybe this 100 happens up here. I don't know how it works, but what I know is if you do business the right way, what happens is 10 years later, because of what's called renewals, and you get paid, you know, for good business, you're going to start your year off with probably 80 to 100K, 80,000 to 100,000 in fairly passive income, more about income to be able to service your current business, right? To go out there and do that with it, you know, after 10 years. Okay? Now if you go out and you do 100,000, now you're at 180 to 200K if you do the same production that you had there. And then this 80 to 100K number that you start your year off gets better and better and better. Now, here's the deal. With this process right here, where you're going through and you're trying to make these numbers, the problem is most people, this is why most agents fail, is because they get into this business and they join it thinking they're, well, let me do that. I'll write it differently. They get into it thinking they're doing life insurance sales. No doubt about it. You're doing life insurance sales. That's part of your job. But what you really are running is a life insurance business. So here's the deal. Most people think about the life insurance sales process. What is the sales process? You got to go have conversations, right? You gotta set appointments. You gotta close sales, take applications, deal with underwriting, you got to deal with client servicing, there's a lot of parts. This all is entailed in the sales process. But the problem is, this is all part of the life insurance business. Most people think in the sales process, I've got to do it all. But the reality is most of the value in people running their business and actually building a practice where they can actually scale and create more and more revenue as they go through, most of that happens right here. It happens in the conversations, setting appointments, and closing the sale. For me, what I can say is, I can tell you right now, the last time I've taken a life insurance application was never. I've never done it, even when I was back in the business early in the years. You have to think about, how are you building your business? Most people get into this business and they're like, I'm just gonna be a life insurance sales agent. I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna sell life insurance. And then they get in, they don't even understand the process yet. So they just kind of go through it and they're like, all right, I'm starting conversations. I'm gonna set these appointments. I'm gonna close these sales. And they get there and they're like, oh my gosh, I gotta take this application. Okay, I'll do that. And then they deal with underwriting and they deal with the client servicing. And the reason that they have this problem is because of the cycle and not running their business and not outsourcing this portion of their business to either an employee where they pay a salary, either pay somebody a salary to handle this of like $50,000, which, you know, maybe you don't have that amount of money, or you pay somebody, say 20% to manage it. Because I got news for you. A lot of people focus on the applications and the underwriting. They even focus on product knowledge, which is important. Don't get me wrong. But I do have news for you. You're going to use the product knowledge to close sales. But if you focus on all this stuff and you spend your time on the bottom part of this business and not the top part right here, if you don't get better and better and better at this, you will never succeed. And here's why. Because what happens is when you do one after one after one and you have one-off appointment, you go through, you do a sales call, have a conversation, they come through, they set an appointment, you help them close the sale, you take their application. What happens is this is about a 60-day process, 45 to 90-day process realistically of dealing with the underwriting and getting them approved and all that stuff. So what happens is you're going out and you're doing sales. And over a 45 to 90-day period, you build up so many people where if you do a good job, by the way, this is if you are a productive agent, you are going to get to the place where maybe you have 10 to 15 deals in the pipeline. Okay? Now what's going to happen is during that 10 to 15 deals, they're all going to take so much intentionality from you, so much focus, so much energy. You're going to have to go and check in underwriting requirements every single day because you got to manage these. So now your capacity goes into like, all right, you go away from prospecting. It gets to the point where it takes so much energy for you to focus on managing these 10 to 15 deals that you've done such a good job at going through and taking these applications and doing all these parts up here, you know, and now because you have to take more applications and you're dealing with the underwriting of these people, now what happens is your whole day, you feel like you're just dealing with problems and dealing with underwriters and trying to manage it all. And so what it does is it takes you away from what's actually going to get you paid. And so it creates this cycle, right? Because now over that period of time, you're going to go through and you're going to deal with these deals and maybe you get some of them paid. Let's say out of the 15 deals, you get 9 to 10 of them paid. It takes 90 days, we'll just say, to get through that. But now you've lost your momentum, right? This momentum that you had, you let the foot off the gas to deal with it all down here. And so now after 90 days, you got to start over. You crushed your momentum, right? And when you crush your momentum, You have to start over. Now you've lost the habit, you've lost the pattern, you've lost the discipline. Maybe you've even lost your mojo in a way. You've lost the fluidity and the natural conversations that you're having with people. And you know, it just takes a little more work to get back on. But now what you have to do is you have to go out, you have to rebuild your pipeline. You got to go out and you got to have the conversations again. Right? And then you got to set the appointments. You got to close the deals and take the app. Right? And so when we look at this and we say, all right, if this is what we have to do, and this is really where the money is in what we do. Dan Martell wrote this book, and my buddy Charles Newton shared it with me. It's luckily I've been pretty good at this my whole life, but one of the things he focuses on, and I've gotten way better at it, and it's an area that I could still see areas I need to improve, quite frankly. But he's got one of the areas I've been lucky that and maybe not lucky, I've just intuition was good. I don't know. But in this world, this is the only area that I focus on. You know, if you're not good at this conversation part, it doesn't mean you can't be good as a life insurance agent. It needs to be that you as a life insurance agent, if you're not good at the conversations, what you need to do is you need to focus on this part. Get really good at the client servicing, taking applications, deal with the underwriting, deal with the client servicing, and that's a much smaller value. You're going to be good for about 20% of the deal, but you can deal with more volume, right? Because the critical mass it takes to be able to be successful there, you're going to do that, but you're going to go and you're going to partner with somebody whose magical ability is to go out and do this. And if you can find somebody that is going to be a rainmaker and go out and have all this part handled, they're going to handle about 80% of the deal, and the person handling the underwriting will be 20%, and that is a great partnership to be able to do. However, the reason people fail is because they're trying to do everything on their own, whereas they need to just be going out, focusing on their unique ability, focusing on the thing that is actually going to be creating revenue, and focusing on, you know, their skills and the things that lead to the results that they're after. When you interrupt your momentum, when you put yourself in a process where you think you got to handle all of it, what you're doing is you're being an agent, a life insurance agent, not a life insurance business owner. So you really need to make sure you think of it as a business, and business owners are willing to invest in their business. They invest in marketing systems, they invest in people, they invest in processes, they invest in whatever they need to invest to make sure they invest in themselves, right? They invest in mentorship. They invest in all these things to get to where they need to go. That's what business owners do. And so my encouragement to you, if you're new in this business, get really, really clear the level of income you want to make, reverse engineer that. If you haven't watched a video already, we just did a live talking about the different ways, the formula that it takes to be able to reverse engineer what you need to do to earn the income you want to earn in this business based on your unique variables. And then once you have that figured out, come in here, think about actually building your business. That's my encouragement to you. You don't give up on your dreams. 93% of agents fail in this business, not because they fail, not because they fail. The only time you fail in this business is when you quit, when you give up on your dreams. You can go back, right? I'm gonna go to this again. You can go back here and you can focus on this track and just be stuck, you know, and I used even a top 15% income, and you're stuck there, whatever. And that's okay. Listen, I'm not putting any judgment, any value, any assessment on that. If that's what you want, then that's amazing. Good for you. But if you want more than that, or maybe you're at 50,000, you just want to break through, and you know the 50 turns into 65 10 years from now. Well, that's probably not going to be where you're super happy to be. And if you could find a way that you could have a different track that worked part-time, that you could replace this easy, or you could dedicate on a higher level to be able to break free within a couple years to reach your goals and build the freedom and do everything that we're talking about doing, why would you not do that? Now, it doesn't have to be life insurance. There's other areas of life that other businesses that can allow the same similar kind of result, but this is just the industry I know, so it's what I speak to, right? I love it. I think the beautiful part about what we do in this business is I can't think of another industry that allows you to make money directly in correlation to the value that you're able to add into other people's lives. I just can't think of any other industry that allows you to do it at the level that we're able to in this business. So Hopefully you found value in this. If you did, please like it, share it, get it out there. If you know other agents that you think would benefit from it, share it with them. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below. I do my best to engage with every single comment. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. That way you're notified every time I launch a new video. I got a lot of agent training videos coming out that I think you're going to be excited about. So till next time, have a blessed, inspirational day. Talk to you soon. Later.